Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gaming Droid and welcome back to Modern Skyblock 3. We are in our giant storage cube that we set up on our last stream. And you might notice that we now have a quantum link chamber in the center. Previously we were using a modded item that was specifically for linking compact machines to ME systems called the ME Capability Adapter from Capability Adapters mod. But it proved to be a little bit unstable. Especially with like the world loads at different times and things like that. It seemed to be a little bit less stable than I'd like. So instead we've moved to a quantum ring. I've also moved my drive bays into here. I've gotten rid of the capacitors that aren't incredible, wonderful, or premium impossible. And like I've basically picked out some of the best capacitors for individual machines. And then we've got our, of course, anti-barrel as well, which is a little bit laggy, but it's storing 4,000 items, so I'm not surprised. Everything should be locked up. And I need to put void upgrades on these. These are the things that came from our... those are the items that came from the stonework factories that we've shut down for now. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. So, void upgrades. Oh, of course, we don't have access to the obsidian. The reason we don't have access to the obsidian at the moment is I'm using a little trick to basically empty stuff out of my drives into these drawers. I've set this to insert only. So the ME system can put items into the drawers as it gets them, but it can't pull items out. And I'm using that as a little bit of a trick just so that I can basically empty out stuff that I want stored in my system separately. So things like netherrack, just stuff that we've got that we're going to be getting more of. Blaze powder blocks, for instance, we're going to be making more of those. We'll probably be making more solarium, but I'm not too worried about that overflowing the system. Zombie brains can come out, and basically I'm just using this as a way to tidy the system. Now today there's going to be a few different jump cuts as we go from one thing to another, because there's a few different bits and pieces that I want to get done today. I need to build the next level ship. I went and sat on the moon for a while just so that it would spawn all of the necessary items, all of the necessary asteroids. I gathered the asteroids I needed. I've turned them into meteoric iron. So the next step for me in that is just to move on and build the tier 3 spaceship. So we'll be looking at that. I'm making more compressed plates in the overworld as we speak, like the plates are being compressed as we talk. So that will get done in a little bit. But in the meantime, I'm just sorting this system out. So I'm just pulling things out of here that I think can get put into our drawer system. Like these soul gems can go into the drawer system. And I'm just looking for stuff that I already have in my drawer system already that I can just throw into there on top of everything that's already in there. And then also we're looking at stuff that I've got a lot of, like the fertilizer. So you can see like the process that we're going through. We're taking anything that is stackable that isn't going into a storage drawer already, that we're going to be making stuff. If we're not going to be making any of it, or at least if we're not going to be like automating the production of it later on, I'm not too concerned. I mean, it does save space in the drawers, but if we're not going to be making more of it later on, then I'm not insanely concerned about it. Pure nether quartz crystals. But if we are going to be making it later on, then having them like tucked away, for instance, redstone torches. We're going to be making like stacks of redstone torches to do machinery later on. So I might as well put those in a drawer. 4, 5, 6. And that is everything void upgraded and prepped and done. And yeah, there should be no issues of overflow, no issues of sort of backlogging or anything. Stuff like printed silicon and diamond has all been put into storage drawers. Pretty much everything that we've got a lot of has gone into a storage drawer. So our storage drives should be reasonably safe. Our anti-barrel is primary, so that goes into the anti-barrel first. It then goes into the storage drawer, and then it goes into the drives last. So that should be everything sorted as far as storage goes, which is really, really useful and really, really good. So other than that, what we're working on at the moment is we're working on making compressed aluminium, and we want compressed bronze as well. Now what I've got over here is I've got all of my broken pickaxes going through and making bronze. So we're going to be making compressed bronze as well. And this is basically what I'm going to be doing for a while now. I'm going to be compressing down metals. I'm going to be making compressed bronze, compressed aluminium, compressed iron, and compressed meteoric iron, which we've got 37 meteoric iron there, which is what we gathered on the moon. And that should be enough combined with our dash to allow us to make the next up rocket. Because what we need is we need a tier 3 rocket now. I'm guessing I might need to go up to the tier 2 spacesuit now. It doesn't tell me I need the tier 2 spacesuit if we go into space and beyond. The tier 2 spacesuit is for Mercury. So I'll wait until then to do the tier 2 spacesuit. But that's going to be a lot of compressed steel because we need to make lots and lots of oxygen components for the tier 2 spacesuit. Basically, to make the tier 2 spacesuit, we need these pressured layers, and each of these requires 2 oxygen concentrators, which require 4 steel and 4 tin compressed each. So there's going to be a lot of compressing going on. I might look at seeing if we can get a better tier of compressor. Okie dokie, so we are back. I've been doing a little bit of chicken breeding, upgrading primarily, just upgrading chickens, aiming to get 10-10-10s at the moment of some of the chickens that I think I'm going to find useful later on. Things like emerald chickens and steel chickens. I did have steel chickens running previously, but they weren't headed towards being 10-10-10s. I wasn't working on making them 10-10-10 chickens. I was just using base steel chickens, which is much, much slower. In the meantime, I've also been doing some steel compressing, tin compressing, aluminium compressing, just doing a whole bunch of compressing. I did need titanium, and I found that the titanium I had wasn't working, so I created a combiner, which is just a few bits of circuitry from mechanism. Cobblestone and the dust from the titanium I have now made the titanium I needed, so that wasn't particularly difficult. I did try an ore dictionary first, but it didn't work. Other than that, yeah, we've just been ticking along. I've been periodically coming over here, emptying this out, and then putting it all back into the system. Like so. And I've been keeping an eye on our ores over here. We've got 31 of the crystals. We need a lot of those crystals. We need... I think I figured it out to get a single tier 2 system set up. We need like 200 of those crystals. So they are really, really slow to get. That's with 2 of the crystal lenses working simultaneously. I've also been processing some fuel. This has been slowly refining. And I think we're ready to just make a few bits and pieces for the tier 3 rocket. So the nose cone is redstone and these tier 3 heavy duty plates. That's not bad. We then need these. I'm going to use the compressed titanium. I made 8, which is exactly the right amount. Oh no, I made 16, sorry. I made sets of 8. This one's going to be pretty simple. It's just tin and steel. A stone button. And that should be everything we need. There we go. Heavy rocket engine. These guys are just compressed meteoric iron, tier 1 duty plates, an oxygen vent, and I don't know if I have the canisters of fuel in the system. I have 1 canister of fuel in the system. What are we missing? We are missing yellow wool. So 2 yellow wool, that's not a problem. There's 1. And the question is, can we make another one? We don't have the canister of fuel, that's fine. We can go and grab a canister of fuel, and we can also make another one of the oxygen vents. We're going to need to make a lot of oxygen vents because the next up spacesuit that we don't need yet, but we are going to need on the next planet when we get to Mercury, that requires us to go even further with our manufacturing. And then we need 10 of these tier 3 heavy-duty plates. And there we go, 10. I made exactly the right amount. And we did find the tier 3 rocket schematic, so we should be able to just pop everything in here. And there we go, tier 3 rocket. Now the tier 3 rocket will allow us to go to the asteroids, and it will allow us to go to Venus. So these two. So we've got the teleportation anchors, and we've got those set and ready. I don't really want to leave these going while I'm away, because in all likelihood they'll probably sort of like breed beyond where I need them. Let's put in the two... Yep, that's filling up. So what we can do is we can go to Venus and the asteroid systems. We can place down teleporters, and that will give us access to teleporting on there. We do need to find the Venus dungeon to get the tier 4 rocket, because that's going to be our next step, is our tier 4 rocket, which is going to be even more fun to make, because to make the tier 4 rocket we need heavy-duty plates tier 4, which means we need compressed mercury, carbon, and heavy metals, and compressed mercury comes from mercury ore, and mercury ore comes from, I presume, the planet Mercury. So what do we get from Venus? Venus. Volcanic rock from Venus. And I don't see any reason why we can't just jump straight to Venus at this point in this episode. Yes, I know I don't have a parachute. I don't need a parachute. I have teleportation powers. Magical teleportation powers. We do have oxygen in our oxygen tanks, because I refilled our oxygen tanks last time. We've got our basic suit, although I do need to... I forgot to put my suit on. And I can't access my inventory, I don't think I can. Okay, so you. Invalid thermal protection. Okay, so I need thermal protection. Let's get you out, and let's get Venus out. And let's get Overworld teleporter out. Okay, so we need some kind of enhanced thermal protection if we're going to survive on Venus. Now, I didn't think we would, but apparently we do. Let's put you away. Let's put the Overworld one away. We'll keep the Venus one out, because this Venus one is now bound to that dimension. So the question is thermal protection. And also, like, recharge these guys. Do. There we go, they're all fully charged. So possibly we need to actually have a look at the thermal protection. Tier 1 thermal protection, thermal padding, is wool and redstone. And the tier 2 thermal protection, I assume, is the isothermal, which is tier 1 and dash ingots. Okay. I didn't need any thermal protection on previous planets because this stuff comes with... oh no, it comes with a radiation layer and a pressure layer and an armor layer. Okay. So let's have a look at this stuff. Can it be any color wool? It can. So what do we need? We need 5. So we need the standard, I think it's 24. No, I made 2 sets of pants. Oops. I'm an idiot. I'm really bad today. Like, I'm not focused in any way, shape, or form. Now, I'm assuming the isotherm armor is going to be enough. I'm assuming this stuff is going to be more than powerful enough to protect me. But if it's not, we can just go up to tier 5 because I can get the magnesium ore from my mining, I can crush it on the crushing table, I can smelt it into space magnesium, and then I can turn that. Yeah, there we go. We're fine now. This guy and this guy, we need some canisters. To just grab the fuel out of here, and then we can smash that. And put everything away again, including the rocket. And then we switch out our baubles so that we have the overworld teleportation one ready. And now we've got volcanic rock, which doesn't appear to have any major use other than apparently turns itself into lava. And now we're just kind of having a look around. Like, I think we're in acid rain, which is why we're taking damage. Pumice stone, interesting. Why are we constantly taking damage? We've got oxygen. We've got oxygen, we've got valid... Like, why are we still taking damage on Venus? I mean, it's nice that we can just kind of teleport back in... Oh, it's because it did that again. It does this periodically where it kind of switches my chest plate for no reason whatsoever. I'm guessing that would be why we took damage. Because it swapped my chest plate out. I am just going to quickly grab my... personal shrinking device. We're going to pop in here. We're going to put the 2 kinds of Venus stone into storage. No, it doesn't. And yet, it... Yeah, it's almost like it uses up power. And then, like, now when I pick it up, it doesn't... It doesn't show damage. It's weird. But let's go back to Venus now that we've actually got our armor on. And hopefully I won't be taking damage anymore. I definitely need to get some kind of decontamination because the radiation thing is getting silly. But to do that, I need to get further on. Yeah, there we go. So now let's see if we can find a cave system or something. Because we've got pumice stone. Pumice stone, I'm assuming, has some kind of use. Volcanic rock, not specially useful. But now comes the point where I'm just going to be sort of hunting around on Venus looking for a... Oh, there is ore. What kind of ore are you? You are tin ore. Looking for a special kind of ore. Looking for dungeons, looking for things like that. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably skip forwards to when I find something useful or something that actually, you know, shows me a good thing about Venus. Because it does say in our quest book, To Space and Beyond, while exploring Mars or the moons, you may find a tier 2 dungeon. And that takes us to Venus and preparing for Mercury. Mercury has extremely high temperature as well as a decent amount of radiation, so you'd best go prepared, and it needs us to make thermal padding tier 3. And I think it also wants us to make the next up spacesuit as well, which we should be able to make. And welcome back. I haven't found a dungeon yet, but what I have found is a crashed probe, which has contained heavy-duty plates, some iron, and some heavy-duty plates tier 2. I found myself a crashed probe. It also contained a radiotopic ore and a crashed probe. That's... like, I've never seen those before, so that's interesting. So we managed to find that. We still haven't managed to find a dungeon yet. I'm just kind of trawling the surface looking for a dungeon. This, you might think, oh, he's been on Venus and searching this whole time. I actually had to go back to Earth because I had to spend a few nights sleeping to bring my radiation level down, because the only way I have of bringing down my radiation level until I get to Saturn and get hold of magnesium salts, or get hold of IO salts, whatever they're called, until I get there, the only way I have to bring down radiation is sleeping, and it brings down radiation by 5% a night. So I've done a few things back on Earth, but I did manage eventually to find one of these locations. And good grief did it take a long time. Now, I've been told that theoretically... Oh, cool, isotherm. Protection. Theoretically, like the... theoretically, the dungeon should be in the same place on every planet. I'm definitely going to have a look into that and see if that's true, that the dungeons are in the same place on every planet. If that is true, that's really very cool indeed. If I can guarantee that they're always going to be in the same place. Now, my suit of armor and things seem okay. I've got plenty of energy. They're 100% in the bottom corner. So you definitely need at least one layer of thermal protection to be here. Oh, hey. So, this planet is the Spider Queen. Come on down. So I can't, like, kill her while she's up there. Oh, wow. Now it says that my armor is at 2%. God dang it. Oh, wow. I destroyed my armor. I destroyed my armor again. Now, we do have protection from damage, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. What happens if I just get stuck, like, cycling deaths on the planet? Like, I'm going to have to go into creative mode in the end. That is one problem I have with Galacticraft, that if you don't set up a... Basically, if you don't set up a base on the spawn location of every single planet, on, like, the home spawn of every single planet, you're a little bit screwed. Because, of course, I'm an absolute idiot. Because I didn't have my... I'm absolutely because I didn't have my overworld thing in my ender pouch, my overworld spawner, overworld teleporter in my ender pouch. And part of that was my own fault because I had these on empowered mode when I really shouldn't, because when they're on empowered mode they explode. Alright, let's put you in there and you in there. So I have died a few times throughout this series, but it's going to happen eventually when you're playing something like this. We did find 3 crashed probes while I was exploring, which gave me 3 sets of those radiation things. So... yeah, I'm pretty sure I just destroyed my armor. So this is a good time to basically just give you a quick rundown of what we did. I moved chickens into here. I gave this, so these are all 10-10-10 chickens. I gave this automated collection that goes into the AE system. So we're now like automatically getting redstone, glowstone, osmium steel, vibrant alloy, pulsating metal, emeralds, coal, electrum, and enderium, just automatically. The other thing I did was, well, first off, I've set my obsidian chickens breeding because I like obsidian. And the other thing I've done is I did an awful lot of material making in here. I moved one of these guys down here and I made a whole bunch of titanium because we needed titanium for something I want to make. So, we're having problems with radiation. So, what I thought was, I tell you what, if we're having problems with radiation, let's go up to the tier 2 things. So I made a whole bunch of these oxygen vents, a whole bunch of these oxygen concentrators, a whole bunch of this wool cloth, because these things are oxygen concentrators and wool cloth and a tier 1, and the tier 1 is oxygen concentrators and wool cloth. So I had to make 2, 4, 6, 6 times 4 is 24, so I had to make 48 oxygen concentrators for that. These ones are literally just lead, wool cloth, lead and wool cloth. They're nice and easy. And these are titanium ingots, which is why I've been creating the titanium over here. Because we need the Galacticraft Planet's titanium, and I wasn't getting that from any of my other things. So I created pretty much everything we need. And the last thing we need to do is create these base ones, which is just aluminium and then titanium. And we've got plenty of aluminium and titanium. There we go. So now, and then we can do Ancient Tome of Unbreaking. Ancient Tome of Unbreaking. There we go, so we've got Unbreaking 4 on all of those. Then we're going to need another couple of 100 levels of experience. I'm using mouse keys to do this super quickly, so there we go. There we go. So now it's all soulbound and unbreaking, which basically means that if I die, it's going to stay with me. So now, what else do I need? I don't know if I can make the Chaos Tanzanite soulbound. Can I make my Chaos Tanzanite soulbound so it doesn't go away if I die? No, I can't soulbound my Chaos Tanzanite. There's a pity. What I could do, however, is I could make myself another Chaos Gem. Right, so let's try that again. We've got a better suit that is now unbreaking. We've got our bow out this time. Okay, so the bosses are now no longer something I can just tank through. I now actually have to put a little bit of effort into dealing with the bosses, which is new. How much damage are you doing? 2-shotting a creeper. That's not terrible. So we're pretty much immune to all the monsters. We've got the charms left. This is about half durability on most of my charms. So I'm not too worried about just running through here. It's killing the Spider Queen that's the problem. So yeah, enemies are, like the bosses are now actually becoming a threat, which is something I'm surprised by. Like, I have some pretty overpowered equipment. But then I suppose I'm not wearing my overpowered armor, am I? Like, a lot of my strength comes from the armor, and I'm not wearing it. A lot of my sort of power. See, what I can do now that I've got my bow out is I can literally just hover here. So with the bow out, this becomes just kind of comically easy. I just have to wait for it to finish its cycles. So yeah, from now on I definitely have to make sure I have my bow out when I do these fights. Bow is essential. It killed itself falling down. Hey! You jumped. There we go. That was better. It's interesting that the thing is kind of like so you can't jump out of it. So where's our dungeon key? Tier 3 dungeon key. Let me guess. Didn't have the schematic. Shield controller protects armor from all forms of damage, including atmospheric corrode. Wait, what? Shield controller protects armor from all forms of damage. How do I equip a shield controller into this stuff? Oh, I have like a little shield on me. I actually have like a little shield on me. My armor's pretty kind of weird, but I actually am wearing a little shield now. Okay, so apparently that protects me from atmospheric damage to my armor. Not sure what atmospheric damage to my armor actually does, if that's why I lost a set of armor while on Venus, but it says it's... I just looked this up on the wiki, and it says it's recommended to use disposable armor sets until you have a shield generator if you're on Venus. And it's like, wait a second, disposable armor sets? Do you realise how hard these things are to make? Hello everyone and welcome back. So while exploring around... Sulfuric acid in a bucket. Ooh, well, while exploring around, I spotted a little bit of green. I'm trying to do this thing of kind of like matching up areas from one planet to another, or from, at the moment, a moon to a planet, in the hopes that that will give us locations of dungeons. This is the area where there should be a dungeon somewhere in this area. I'm not seeing it. To be honest, I'm not seeing the entrance to the dungeon that should be kind of balled into this area. I will check up on here just in case. Hello everyone, welcome back yet again. Hopefully this will finally be the end of this episode. I'm going to have to do so many cuts in this episode. So many cuts. We found another dungeon. Surprisingly, like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is my spawn area here. Oh, no, sorry. This is my spawn area here. This section here where it's kind of choppied up. Because it just does get choppied up for some reason. So this is my spawn area over here, and this is this dungeon. The way I found it was I switched on to topographic mode, and I had a look at the entrance to this dungeon, which you can see is a kind of, like, green square surrounded by slight lighter green square. And I found another one over here. You can see the kind of like green square and then green cross sort of effect. So I think like the easiest way to find dungeons was probably to explore a large area, then go into topographic mode and just like scroll around looking for that particular shape. Because I never spotted this before because it's in kind of like a ditch between two mountains. But now that we are here, hopefully this one will have what we want and not another shield module. The shield module is pretty cool. It is definitely... It's weird that even inside dungeons like this, I was still taking environmental damage from the acid rain on Venus to my armor. And the environmental damage doesn't show up as regular damage. Yeah, I think they need to do a little bit of work on their sort of environmental damage versus regular damage thing. I could turn on my quiver's special power and give it give this bow explosive, but I don't think I really need to. I think a couple of hours to kill one of these spiders is not too bad. All explosive does is kind of increase the area of effect anyway. I don't think it increases the actual damage that you deal. So there we go, that wasn't too bad. And now we get another chance at a dungeon chest. And fingers crossed it has what I need. I'm pretty sure it's these dungeon chests I'm looking to get stuff from. So we got a Venus buggy. Hello everyone, and yet again, we are back again. If this doesn't have the rocket schematic in it, I'm basically going to assume that I need to send up satellites and find another planet. Because this has been going on for a while now, and I still don't have a rocket schematic. And as you can tell, I've loaded so much of this world that, I mean, just look how much world I have explored. Look at the sheer amount of chunks I have loaded. I even used my teleport sword to get down to an area where there was supposed to be a dungeon, based upon dungeons on other planets, because I've been told that dungeons share the same locations on all planets. There's supposed to be a dungeon right here. There's no dungeon. So it's apparently that's not a thing anymore. But now I'm all the way over, God knows where, over here. I have explored, as you can see, a lot of the planet. The game's getting a little bit laggy just because of the sheer amount of terrain generation that's been done. So, yeah. So, if the dungeon schematic isn't here, what I'm going to assume is that it's actually going to be on Mercury, and we need to go to Mercury. Yeah, we've got a volcanic pickaxe, which mine's in a 3x3 area, depending on which way you're facing. Ooh, okay. Compare that. That's actually, like, not bad. I will say this, that is not bad. Okay. How if I could spell? I'll grab my research papers just in case maybe holding specific research papers. Asteroids and Venus, maybe holding specific research papers triggers where your spaceship's going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some research in between, and yeah, I am going to see if I can't find another... See if I can't find another source of dungeons for me to smush. And if I can find another source of dungeons for me to smush, all the better. So thank you all for watching. I have been the Gaming Droid. This has been Modern Skyblock 3. And I will see you all in another episode as we try and figure out where we've got to go next. Bye-zy bye, everybody. Bye-zy bye.